Are you thinking about staying at a value resort, but you need more information? Come along with us. We're going to dive deep into value resorts at Walt Disney World. Let's go. Hey guys, it's Cara and Mark from Wondervault, where we unlock the geek universe and share our insider tips, reviews, and collectibles. Today is another episode of our Wonder Plan series, where we help you plan a wonderful, magical Disney vacation. Today, we are talking about Walt Disney World, where to stay at Walt Disney World, and specifically, where to stay if you're thinking about a value resort.
Hopefully you watched our last video about the different categories of the Disney World resorts. If you haven't, as Cara just said, we've got the video up there, so please click and watch it, and it should give you a broad idea of what is available. But today, we're talking about value resorts.
That's right, so we're going to dive deeper into what resorts are in this category. So the value resort is your most affordable option, apart from the campground, which is sort of a bit of a niche market. It being the most affordable option, it's going to be the right option for a lot of different families and a lot of different groups. It is very popular with things like school camps, cheerleader camps, conferences, small families, big families, couples, singles, lots of people who just want an affordable option to get you to Walt Disney World. So there are 5 value resorts.
All-Star Music, Sport and Movie, which are the cheapest of the value resorts. You've also got your Pop Century, and then you've also got the newest of the 5, the Art of Animation.
That's right, we stayed at the Art of Animation a few years ago and it was amazing! But it actually wasn't that affordable. It's the most expensive in the value category, and depending on the type of room or suite that you get, it can actually be more expensive than some of the moderates. But the theming is off the charts amazing. You've got a Little Mermaid land, you've got a Lion King land, a Finding Nemo land, a Cars land, and the theming is amazing. They've got these huge statues and the pools are incredible.
This is where we're staying, in this side, the Finding Nemo area.
We had to stay there. I didn't care how much it cost. We had to stay there when we went last time.
Yeah.
And it
cost a lot.
It did cost a lot for a value resort. So as much as I loved it, I don't think it fits in the value resort category because you weren't getting those additional amenities that you get at a moderate. So as we've explained before, your value resort only has a quick service, food court type situation for food options, whereas a moderate will have a sit down and your deluxe will have a sit down and a signature.
Yep.
And some other amenities around the pools and things like that.
So, a couple of the pros and cons for the value resort. One of the newest pros is that it's now the Art of Animation and the Pop Century are going to be connected with the Skyliner system. So you're going to have access to getting to Hollywood Studios, Epcot, and also some of the other resorts through the Skyliner system. And apparently it is going to be quite an efficient way to travel because of the distance you are actually from the main parks. Staying at these value resorts. So please consider that when you're picking your resorts type. Distance is going to be a problem because it is the furthest away. It is on the outer rim of the Disney resort location. And buses as well, when you're getting at the parks, you'll notice that the buses for these value resorts are actually quite the furthest away from the deluxe. Deluxe is usually at number 1 to 8, and the Art of Animation is number 32.
Yeah, so that was something we didn't factor in when we went last time. So we stayed at Art of Animation, but being the newest resort, it was tacked on the end. So it was the furthest bus stop from anything. And when you're trying to be at the parks all day long or at Disney Springs late at night, the last thing you want to do is walk another 5,000 years to get on the bus. And because it's a value resort, it's so busy. So you walked 5,000 years to get to the bus. And then sometimes we had to wait for an hour or more to get on the bus because there was so many people waiting. And when we were on the bus, it was so cramped that we pretty much always had to stand up. And Mark actually dislocated his shoulder.
I did. That was not a great time.
That was not great because we're standing up on the bus, and being a man, there was no chance he was going to sit down, and I'm holding the pram or the stroller and Ellie, and he had the other stuff, and we went round a corner and
yes, I actually had Ellie sitting on my arm like this, and she fell asleep. And the bus driver, it wasn't his fault. Somebody in front of him braked, and I then, trying to stop my child from flying through the air, actually ended up dislocating my shoulder and almost throwing up on the bus.
Yeah. But that's not a value resort.
No, that wasn't the problem with the value resort.
That's a bus problem, but it's likely to be more busy at your value resorts, and the journey is longer because, like Mark said, the resorts are sort of on the outer rim. You're in the bus for a longer amount of time. So if you are uncomfortable, you're uncomfortable for longer. And that's kind of part of what makes a value resort, in that you are further from the parks. You have some of them sort of only have that bus transportation, whereas as you get to moderate and then deluxe, you have the buses and the monorail and the ferry and the other things, and each of those options is much shorter. So not only are you uncomfortable for less amount of time, but you're getting up. You don't have to get up quite so early, and you're getting back to your room a bit faster. I remember when we went last time and we went to the Christmas party, which was really amazing. It finished at, was it midnight or 1 a.m.?
Yeah, it was quite late.
It finished really late. Then literally it was an hour and a half till we got on the bus. Yeah,
we didn't get back to the room until I think it was about 2 a.m. When we got back to the room, and we were tired and cranky.
Whereas if we'd been staying at the Contemporary or the Polynesian or something, we would have walked out of the park, got on the monorail and been back to our room in probably 15 or 20 minutes. But you're paying a lot more money for that convenience. So that's just something to consider. That's not something I realised the first time we went. That the value is not just about amenity, it's also about distance and transport.
Okay, so we mentioned before about the Pop Century. We've talked about the Art of Animation, but the Pop Century is actually connected to the Art of Animation. There's a bridge that goes through the middle where the Skyliner system will be actually run from. They're going to be running basically in the middle of the two. So you're going to have access to both this Art of Animation food hall, so you get some really decent food if you're staying at the Pop Century, but also you get access to both sets of buses networks.
That's right, because we actually utilised that last time that we went, which we didn't realise before we sort of planned it, because we went with friends. And like I said, I had to stay at the Art of Animation, but it was not a value choice. And our friends stayed at Pop Century. And what we did is some mornings they would walk across the bridge and come and have breakfast with us, and we would go from our bus to the park. And other days we would walk across the bridge and have breakfast with them and go from their bus to the parks. And that was a really good way to do it. So if you've got different people who want to experience a different theme but not pay the same price, it was really easy to do that.
And if we haven't mentioned the Pop Century theming, I think they theme it on decades. So 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, all that sort of stuff. So each of the different buildings has a different theme.
Okay, so next we're going to talk about the All-Star Resorts. So there are 3 of these: All-Star Movie, All-Star Sports, and All-Star Music. So understandably, their themes are movies, sports, and music.
Complicated.
And very complicated. And these are the oldest of the resorts, but they are the most affordable place to stay if you don't want to stay at the campground.
Yeah.
So they will be the right option for a lot of people.
Please be aware though that because this is the cheapest option available on property, this is where the majority of the convention or school trips or cheerleading squads or whatever it is that the schools arrange, this is where they're going to be staying, because it is the cheapest option and that it will be filled with screaming high sugared children.
That's true. When you read the reviews around some of the value resorts particularly, there is that complaint about noise. But there are wonderful people who write very, very detailed reviews about the hotels specifically that take it down even further. So once you've chosen your resort, you actually have people who can tell you, right, to get the best noise, light, transport, whatever, you want to stay in this building, on this floor, in this room. And once you have that information, you can phone Disney and go, hey, I want to be in building number 3, floor number 2, room number 5. And they'll do that for you. So once you've made that decision, you can actually go down to that level of detail if you want to. And we can help you do that. Put us a comment down below if you're thinking about something and we can look that up for you. That's something we can definitely do. So, food at the value resorts. As we mentioned, one of the key differences between a value and a moderate is that your value resorts only have a quick service option. So if you're not familiar with the term, what this kind of means is that it's sort of standard takeaway. So what you'll usually have is like a food court where you have different shop fronts, for lack of a better word, around the food court, and each person goes up to the counter with a little tray. I'll have the pizza, I'll have the burger, I'll have whatever. You wait, you go, you pay, you grab your tray, and you sit down. It's not something where you can all sit together and order and it comes to you. You have to go and get it and then pay and then sit down. And that's not a problem, but it can be a bit of a hassle when you've got people who want to order different things. It means you've got to wait separately. So if, say with us, we've got a small child, we all want different things. So I go and order my thing and sit with Ellie, then Mark goes and gets his thing, he gets that thing, da-da-da-da. No one's eating hot food at the same time. And it's not a big deal, and I think if you've got bigger kids who can go and order their own food and pay with their Magic Band, it'd be great. But for us, it was a little bit annoying. Your sort of standard quick service food is going to be a cheese or a pepperoni pizza, a cheeseburger of some description, a
sandwich.
At
Generic.
Art of Animation, they had a sort of make your own pasta type thing. They also have I can't remember the word for it, but where you just go and you grab an apple, a sandwich, a muffin, and it's all in the fridge. A grab and go.
Grab and go, yeah.
Yogurt, milk,
biscuits,
soft drinks,
cookies,
biscuits, that kind of thing. So that's really good if you're grabbing and going to the park. So you're in a rush, you're going to grab a muffin and eat it on the bus before you get to the park. And all the resorts have those, but just to be aware that the value resorts only have these options.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, that's our take on the value resorts. If you have any further questions or require any further information, please feel free to give us a like and a subscribe and a comment down below, and we'll try and cover that on another video if that is what you wish to have.
Yeah. Next time, we're going to look at moderate resorts, and we'll dive deeper into those and tell you about the different themes. So tune in next time here on Wondervault. See ya!
Bye.